right, it is 4:15 and we are going to get started with the Facilities Naming Committee for Thursday, October 29th, 2020 at 4:15. Let's see. Roll call. Councilor Anest.
Here.
Councilor Donahue.
Here.
Councilor Menke.
Here.
Also present, Town Manager Keith Chapman. At this point, we do need to designate a chair, because maybe this will become popular now that we have a lot of things going on in a new building. I'll take nominations from the committee.
I'll nominate Tim Menke.
Second.
Second on that from Councilor Anest. Any other nominations? All right, I'll consider that closed. Congratulations, Mr. Menke. I will turn the meeting over to you, and we are into public participation, and we have nobody on at this time.
Cool. Okay.
All right.
So the first thing order of business is review the policy, which James sent out to everybody. Does anybody have any questions?
No, it seems pretty straightforward.
I just would like one clarification. Maybe James or Keith can chime in here. And over my tenure here on the council, there's been questions of who can name parks and rec facilities. And to me, it looks like it's only a council function. It's not the Parks and Rec board function. Is that correct?
From what I've reviewed, that is correct.
Okay, because I think there's some confusion sometimes about who can name what facility, but
what I've found so far in either any of the minutes, any council actions, charter, code of ordinances, it all directs back to the town council as the final authority on naming.
well, that's what this policy says. It does mention parks, lands, and park facilities and buildings and other things. So,
Yep.
Okay, as long as we're clarified on that, that's good.
Right, and you'll notice that the end part of it, which is on the third slide that I have here for you, is the corporate naming, corporate sponsorship,
Right.
sort of like the Saputo that we had last time. When
Right.
Equipment.
That should then be its council.
Correct. They should make the recommendations on the naming committee, and you should bring that to the council, which actually, ironically, is my next slide. So that
Right.
will give you I just put this together, so this will give you, the request is made to your committee, you make the determination if it meets that specific naming process, you'll make your recommendation to the town council as a whole, a resolution will be put before them, and they can decide whether to act to approve or reject that that submission that you do as your subcommittee.
Okay, correct. Okay. Cool. So any other questions on the policy?
Nope.
We're all good?
All good.
So we'll move into there. I'm not sure if Mr. Chapman would like to, or I believe, Carol, you may have brought this forward, if I remember correctly. So I don't know who wants to speak to it.
Hello, Keith.
I will just say that it was brought to my attention by Councilor Annis that it would be appropriate at this time to consider dedicating a street in the honor of Rich Collette, our former police chief. And I fully supported that suggestion. We decided that Carol would contact Maureen, Richie's husband, to see what her response was. And Carol, can you respond to that?
Yes, I talked to Maureen and she was speechless at first. Matter of fact, her son had said, I was wondering if, they could do something like this. So I suggested Started, and she was like, well, maybe Robbins. And I'm like, well, Robbins is a state road, so we had to state. And then I said, well, what about Garfield Street? I go, Richie has been a police officer, I believe, since 1973. So he's been traversing Garfield Street as working in the police department, and then as well as working as chief of security for the school system, because he was at the town hall a lot. So she thought that was a fabulous idea, and it brought tears to her eyes. So at that, I am recommending that we dedicate Garfield Street in honor of Richard A. Collette.
So this would involve putting up a plaque like we did for, I think, Siler?
Yes.
Over on Richard Street, I believe, right?
Correct.
Like not a plaque, but a sign, a street sign.
Yeah, a street sign, just like that, just like there's one for Cole, there's one for that's on a town street. And then there's one for Pishanowitz that's on a town street. Those are two firemen that died in line of duty.
Right, right. Just so under the policy, we're considering a street as a
town property.
town property. Okay,
And it's a town-owned road, it's not a state road.
right. This is not a state road, right? So okay. Well, I certainly think Richie Collette deserves some kind of a recognition. He's certainly served the town well, and both as an employee and as a volunteer. So both those would qualify him, I would think. So you're making that motion, Carol?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. We don't have to do a roll call, James, do we?
No, we're a small enough board, we can handle this one.
So we can make that recommendation then to the council?
Yep.
Okay.
We'll go forward, get a resolution drafted up. We can present that hopefully at this next meeting for agenda setting on the 2nd or 3rd,
Yeah.
depending on how everything rolls.
James, we probably want to do it on a different day then.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The 3rd might be a little rough, but yeah. So
Fourth.
yeah. So, well, 4th I still might be tired, but 2nd would be better if you guys are available.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm available.
Okay.
I'm
But,
pretty
yeah,
sure.
we can put that together. A lot of that information is contained in the previous resolution when we honored him at the meeting. So a lot of that we can pull together, and we can use
Cool.
something similar to we did with Seiler for Richard Street. All right.
And then,
Are we having a special meeting on Monday?
No. It's just for agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry.
so
No problem.
Keith, when we go to dedicate, this passes the council, and we go to dedicate this street, could we do a social distancing dedication? Being we're outdoors?
I'm sorry, Carol, I didn't hear your question. You're hard.
I'm sorry, I'm at work, so when we go, if it passes the council and we go to, here, you know what? No, when we go
by the throat.
when we go to the council and this does get passed,
Yeah.
and we go to do the dedication of the road, when we put the sign up, can we do a social distancing dedication? Seeing it's outdoors?
A special what?
Can we do an outdoor, can we, when we dedicate the road, now they put
Yeah.
the sign up and they do a thing.
Yeah.
Could we do a social distancing dedication? So
Well,
people-
you would have to, when do you want to actually be physically at the corner, we'll say, of Willard and Garfield, or Garfield and Maine? When would you want to do that?
whenever the sign is printed up. I don't know where we get the sign from, but if we do it, it's going to be outdoors. So
Right.
no, if we can do a social distancing dedication so we can be there.
Yeah, I think you can. Would you want to do it that same night, or do you want to have the council pass it?
I think what Carol's asking for, Keith, is having the council pass it, and when we put the sign up.
Right. Because like when we did Siler's sign, it was in winter, so we were in the council chambers, and we did it in the council chambers, and they had the sign up because it was crappy weather out. But usually you're at the location when the sign gets erected.
Yeah.
And then there's an
Okay.
extra sign for the family.
So just for my edification, the council takes an action at a council meeting approving the dedication of the street. And then at some other time, the street sign is installed and we have a
Correct.
special meeting.
Well,
and
we, yeah,
invite the-
Yeah.
Okay, we invite the family and then a couple people will speak.
Yeah, I don't think it has to be a special meeting. We can just do it as they screw the sign into the post. That's when we say congratulations.
yeah, and that's basically when we did Siler's, it was indoors, but it was just like the dedication of Richard Street in honor of Richard Seiler. And they had like, they had an extra sign for the family and people spoke and,
I just want to make sure that, so what would happen is, so the town manager will schedule the sign dedication. So it's not a council meeting.
Correct.
And that I'm inviting all of you, so there's no issue of illegal meeting or anything like
Correct.
that.
Exactly.
So let me just ask you, Carol, did you and Maureen discuss when she would like to have the actual sign installed?
no, we didn't get that far yet.
Okay, so we'll go through the council, get them to approve the dedication,
Mhm.
and then we'll schedule a definite time for my office for the installation and the invitations to actually be at the site. Now,
Right.
any choice on whether it's Willard or Maine?
Sometimes they put it at two ends, like here at McDermott's is at two parts of Willard, like a section of Willard. So I don't know if you want to put it at both ends of Garfield. I mean, I don't know.
I think it needs to be at both ends, but I think Keith's asking about, I think the ceremony should be on the Willard side.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
because you know what? There's a big grassy area that people can distance.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, all right, we'll take care of that. So we'll get the council to take the action. I'll talk to Marina when she wants to have the dedication.
And I think it's going to depend on how long it takes to get the sign printed up.
So the sign is going to be easy to obtain. It's just
Okay.
a matter of when you guys want to do it or she wants to do it. It really depends on the weather, but.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's good. We can do that.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it, everybody.
All right. So that's all set. We're back to public participation and nobody's on with us still.
Ah.
So, to that point,
I just think before we adjourn, we should schedule a meeting to talk about naming and how we, with the new town hall. I don't want to start rushing into everybody wants to claim a room to be named after them. We should have some way of recognizing people other than naming facilities or rooms or permanent. Streets are one thing because we have plenty of streets, but we don't have a whole lot of rooms.
Right, and I agree, Tim. I know that you had said something at leadership, and I really like that idea that you had brought up.
Yeah.
So that might be something that we can discuss at our next meeting.
Yeah, maybe.
So why don't we schedule a meeting for a couple of weeks? Just because I think I'm a little worried that now that the town hall's done, people are gonna start saying, I want that conference room to be called the Tim Mankey conference room. We want one with the Carol Annis conference room, and we want one the John Donahue conference room, and then we're gonna run out of places to name.
No, I
I
agree.
want a men's room.
No, I think that's a good idea.
Not to mention that we also have the issue of the rooms that were named in the old town hall. Do they carry over to the new town hall? And I don't think they do.
No, and I think if we do something different, like what you had recommended, we just get their names up there.
Yeah, I think there's some way of having like a wall of honor where you would put your name on there for significant contributions to the town.
Right.
Would be a good way to go, I think. Question is where to put that and what format to take, but I think that's some way to do that without cluttering up the names. And it's also confusing when you go to conference of one, or is it conference of one, or is it the John Smith conference room? And it gets confusing. It was confusing in the old town hall. I never knew what conference room we were going to.
Right. No,
So-
I agree.
Bill's already started putting up signs in his wall of honor, so.
For the Parks and Rec.
Yeah, he named the conference room or the preschool after that lady.
Yeah, but that, I know, and that was from previous, and that never came to the council.
Oh, no, I'm just saying, and as I was walking into the building the other day, he had a sign on the wall across from the Transition Academy with, paper placement things for the Wall of Honor.
It's my understanding that maybe the previous town manager working with the facilities director and the architect had met and discussed all that, and that's how these names are appearing on the signage, because we didn't order it that way. That's the way it's been delivered to us.
Take his old signs down?
Pardon?
Did he take his old signs down? Are they
Not
recycled
that I know
signs?
of.
Okay.
So anyway, if you have another meeting, once you schedule, it's probably a good topic, and I would agree a wall of honor makes a lot more sense than naming rooms.
I do too.
Now, do you guys find that this 4:15-ish time period works for you? Because I'm looking at the calendar, at least for the next month in November. So I just want to make sure that we don't, like, if we're going to do it later in the day, I need to make sure that I'm not hitting into another meeting.
4:15 works for me. I'm retired. I got nothing to do.
No, this is fine. I just do it in my office.
Okay.
I can probably swing it. I'll move some stuff around if I have to.
Okay.
So you want to pick it like a Thursday, a couple of weeks from now?
That's up to you guys. Right now, I'm good for that. The 5th is Zoning Board of Appeals. That's at 7. EQC's at 6:30 on the 12th. 19th is clear, and then we're into Thanksgiving for that 26th.
Can we do the 19th, or is that too far out?
I think that would give the administration a little bit of time, get things together.
19th is good.
Concepts.
The night, excuse me, the 19th at 4:15.
4:15, yeah, sounds good to me.
4:15. All right. We'll get that scheduled and an agenda out to everybody. If anybody has anything they want to add on to it, just email me and I'll make sure it goes out with it.
Yeah, I think we just did just a general discussion of how we want to recognize people going forward, and then how the names, do they carry over or not?
Do you want to look at the policy and possible amendment to that as well, just to be able to utilize this new fashion?
Well, I think we before we do amend the policy, we should come up with a plan first.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
you want to look at that?
So we should probably look at the whole thing as a whole.
Okay. We'll keep that as a policy review and concept.
Right.
Perfect.
Okay.
I'm marking it down. Okay, sounds good. Anything else?
I've got nothing. Anybody?
Motions in order to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
We have a second?
Yeah, John's muted.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you, folks.
4:30.
See ya.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Have a good night.
You too.